Title: The Demon Moth. Creator: Werewolf from Washington, D.C. Chapter 1: Hyenas. Dear Diary, I'm sitting on a bus surrounded by a pack of menacing hyenas, waiting to pounce on me, Alice scribbled in her journal. Hey, loser. Didn't we tell you to change your hair color? Jessica looks down on Alice. That color is so evil, said Jessica's friend Tom. I can't change something I am born with. This is my real hair color, Alice said in a low tone. Am I sensing you getting smart at me? Jessica said with her eyes getting wider. I think she is getting smart with you, Jessica, said Carter, Jessica's other friend. I think she needs to be taught a lesson. Jessica's friend Sophia said. Maybe she should. Jessica smiles at Alice. Please leave me alone, I'm begging you, Alice said in sorrow. Jessica looks at Alice's hand and notices a book. Give me the book, Jessica said seriously. No, this is my book, Alice said, holding her book close to her. The school bus stopped. Time to get off the bus and go home, kids, the bus driver said, yawning. Alice puts her diary in her bag and begins to get out of her seat, walking down the bus to the door. Jessica smiles and walks slowly out of the bus. The bus driver stares at Jessica and her friends leave off the bus. Finally, I can go home, the bus driver said. The bus driver shuts the door and drives off. It then begins to rain outside. Alice uses her bag to cover her head. Alice feels a grip behind her and pulls her back. She falls on the ground and looks up and sees Jessica and her friends looking down at her. Did you think I was going to let that slide? You should know me by now, Alice. When I say things, I mean it, Jessica said, looking angry at Alice. Carter, get the book. Jessica shouted at Carter. Carter smiles and grabs her bag. Alice crawls to Carter. Please give me my book. It's special to me, Alice said, picking up her glasses off the ground. Alice said, fixing her glasses. Carter gives Jessica the book. Let's find out what you're hiding. Jessica smiles and opens the book. Hyenas? You calling us hyenas? Jessica looks at Alice more angrily. I was talking about someone else. Alice looks regretful. She is lying, said Sophia. Since we are hyenas, why not behave like one? Jessica rips Alice's diary with her teeth and spits the paper on the ground. Jessica and her friends start laughing crazy and surrounding Alice. They all took turns pushing her back and forth. Alice begins to cover her body with her arms and hands. A dog runs to them. Jessica and her friends run away. The dog sniffs Alice. Hi, Max. Alice rubs her dog. Alice picks up her ripped-up diary. She shakes the water off and puts it in her bag. Alice walks to her home and opens the door. Max runs into the house. Alice tries to keep her balance and walks into the house. How was your day at school, honey? Said Alice's mom. You ask me that every day, Mom, and I told you I am fine, Alice said, crying out. Honey, you want to talk? Alice's mom said. No, I'm gonna go to my room. Alice said, going up to her room. She puts her stuff down and falls face first into her bed. A tear falls from her cheek. Max jumps on her bed and licks her. Alice laughs and looks up at Max. She kisses Max on the head. Max began to shake his tail. Alice smiles. Alice sits up on her bed. She goes to her desk with her diary. She looks for glue. A hand touches Alice on her shoulder. Alice shakes and looks back. It's just me, it's okay. August hugs Alice. Hey brother, Alice said in a low tone. I can sense someone was bothering you. Who was it? August stops hugging. Nobody is fine, said Alice. August looks at the ripped paper on the table. Okay, whatever you say. August walks a little closer to the door. Before I go, there's some things I want to give you. August puts his backpack on Alice's bed. August gave Alice a notebook, marbles, and a book. Grandma gave me that book, but I am not into creepy-looking things, August said, shaking his head. Thank you, August. Alice smiles at August. No problem. August zips his bag back up. August opens the door and leaves. Alice noticed he dropped something. She goes to the door to check. She picks up a bottle of glue. She notices a sticky note on the glue. A pack of hyenas can't kill 2 lions. Alice smiles at the note and places it in her drawer. She opens the glue and begins to use it for her old diary. Forget it. I'll just start over again, Alice said, throwing her old diary in the trash. She uses tools to fix her glasses with a tiny crack in them. A red light sparks Alice's eyes. She uses her hand to protect her eyes from the bright red light. She notices the red light came from the creepy book her brother August gave her. She hesitates but eventually grabs the book and opens it. She notices a shadowy-looking demon in the book with red and white eyes. The figure moved in the book. Alice looked closer. "Hi," the figure said to Alice. Alice yells and slams the book to the floor. August rushes into the room. "What's wrong?" August comes to Alice's comfort. That book it talked to me," Alice said, shaking. This book." August picks up the book. "Yeah, it's pretty creepy. I would scream too," August laughed. "No, August, not the look of it. The book said hi to me," Alice said, staring at the book. "Alice, you're so silly, books don't talk." August smiled at Alice. "Why won't you believe me?" Alice said. "I'll throw it away to save you the trouble of peeing on yourself." August walks over to the trash and drops the book in there. "No more scary things for my sister," August sighed. "I am always here for your Alice." August puts his hand on Alice's shoulder and walks right back out the door. Alice takes a deep breath and breathes out. She gets up off the floor and brushes her clothes off. She notices the red light coming from the trash again. This time, she doesn't get scared. She rushes over to the trash, takes the book right back out, and places it on her desk. "A.M. bold. I can do this," Alice said to herself, slowly opening the book back up. "Don't be afraid," said the figure in the book. Alice tries not to panic. "What are you, and what do you want from me?" Alice said, whispering to the figure in the book. "A.M. half demon and half moth, confused, I know. I am stuck in this book, as you can see. The only way you can get me out is..." Alice hears a knock at her door. "Honey, it's time for dinner. We can talk about this over a good meal. I made you your favorite potato salad, macaroni, and broccoli," Alice's mom said, excited and down at the same time. "I'll be there later," Alice said, yelling. "Okay, honey." Alice's mom places the meal on the floor next to Alice's door and walks away. Alice notices her mother's footsteps go away. She looks back at the book. "Continue," said Alice. Chapter 2: The Strange Moth. "The only way I can get out is by placing 3 of my favorite foods in a triangle and saying Mothy, eat 3 times, said the demon moth. "Okay, so your name is Mothy, and you need my help getting out this book, but tell me, what good are you going to do for me if I was to do this spell?" said Alice, looking down at the book. "I will be at your service. Anything you ask, I shall do." "Consider me your partner," said Mothy. "I don't know about this." Alice rubs her head and thinks for a minute. "You can trust me. I will remain loyal to you till the end of time," Mothy says, friendly. "Okay, let's do this," Alice said. "What exactly is your favorite food, Mothy?" said Alice, curious. "Fruit, dark chocolate, and ice cream," Mothy said happily. "Let me see what I have in my backpack." Alice grabs her backpack, checking for food. "I have a fruit cup I saved from lunch, and a piece of chocolate my mom got me, but I don't have ice cream, Mothy." Alice puts the food on the table. "The spell can't be completed without the 3rd piece of food," said Mothy. "I have a mini fridge in my room. Let me check that." Alice walks over to her fridge and opens it. She grabs a strawberry ice cream cup out of the fridge and places it on the table. "I found strawberry ice cream. Hopefully, that'll do," Alice said, sitting back in her chair and placing the food in a triangle. "Excellent. Now for this next part, say Mothy eats 3 times. But when you say it, take 2 of your fingers like a peace sign and put it by your eye, and take your other index finger and cover the exposed part. It should be a triangle with your eye in the middle," Mothy explains to Alice. "Okay." Alice does the finger move. "Mothy eat," Alice says very low. "You gonna have to be louder than that," Mothy shouts at Alice. "Mothy eat." Alice says it a bit louder. "Yes, that's it, say it crazy and insane like me, I meant yeah, insane," Mothy smiles. Alice laughs insanely. "Mothy eat." Mothy laughs and smiles at Alice. "Now you're getting it." Mothy smiles more. Alice's eyes get a bit wider and insane looking. "Yes, let the insanity run down your hair like water." Mothy gets happy. "Mothy eat." Alice shouts extra loud. The book began to float in the air and spin around. Alice moves back a little. Mothy laughs. A shadowy figure with wings comes out of the book. Mothy falls out of the book. Are you okay? Alice says, stepping back a little more. Mothy muscles begin to twitch a little. Mothy stretches a little. His red eyes look up at Alice. Alice panics. Mothy looks at the food. He crawls over there and eats crazy. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Alice said to Mothy, smiling a bit. Mothy continues to eat without saying a word. You're a very interesting creature, Alice says to Mothy. Interesting creature, never been called that one before. Mothy eats his ice cream. I never caught your name? Mothy turns around and licks the dripped ice cream off his arm. It's Alice. Alice tries not to look at Mothy's eyes. Why fear me, human? Mothy gets a little closer to Alice. Your hair, it's perfect, Mothy said. Oh, thanks. Alice smiled at Mothy. Glad I got your attention, Alice. Am at your service. Anything you need, but just feed me food. I can't function right without food. Mothy gets on one knee at Alice. Alice looks at Mothy on the floor. She slowly moves her hand a little closer to Mothy's head. She felt the soft fur and his hard skull like horns. Mothy looks up at Alice. Alice touches his wings. He moves his wings a little. A knock hits the door. It's me, August. Can I come in? Alice panics. Don't worry, Alice. I can camouflage. Mothy crawls to the roof and blends in with it. Yes, sure, August. Alice hides the book in her drawer. August opens the door and sees Alice laying back on her bed with a book over her face. You can make yourself look obvious at times, Alice. August laughs and cracks the door. I think Mom left you this at the door. August puts the plate on her desk and takes a seat on her bed. Listen, Alice, I'm not like Dad and I don't want to take his place, but if tier one thing he taught me was to protect you from any danger. August looks at Alice. It's okay, you don't have to answer me, I completely understand. August gets up off Alice's bed and heads to the door. He looks at Alice's desk. I'm glad you're eating something. August smiles and heads out the door. Alice sighs and takes the book off her head. Is it okay? Said Mothy. Yes. Alice looks at the roof. Mothy changes back to his original color and crawls down from the roof. Mothy, you're drooling, Alice said. I can't help it. Mothy wipes his mouth. How can I assist you with anything? Mothy said. I have a little situation at school with some bullies, Alice said, looking down. Bullies, I know how to handle that. Mothy looks at Alice. Don't worry, you won't have to worry about that again. Mothy smiles. Alice looks at Mothy. Anything it takes to get rid of them, Alice said. The next day. Alice clock goes off. Mothy breaks it. Well, looks like I got something else to fix. Alice smiles at Mothy. My God, Mothy. Alice gets out of bed. What happened to you? Alice covers her mouth. You're all white, and you have blue eyes. Alice stares at Mothy. Moth shed, that's part of my life. Mothy sits on the floor. Alice gets out of bed. She feels something silky and plasticity on her foot. She looks down and sees a big piece of shed. She jumps back in panic. Mothy, that's a big piece of shed. Alice looks at it. What you want me to do with it? Mothy looks at Alice. Actually, this can come in handy for a coat, Alice said. Alice grabs scissors and begins to cut Mothy sheds into a coat. Alice stitches it a little. All done, Alice said, holding up the coat with the stitch needle in her mouth. You're a creative human being, Mothy says. Thanks, nobody never told me that. Alice smiles at Mothy. Alice looks at her watch. OMG, I'm gonna be late for school. Alice falls out of bed. Mothy helps her. Don't worry, I'm here to help. Mothy puts Alice on her feet. Alice puts her leftovers food in her backpack. Mothy, you have to stay here, nobody can't see you, Alice said to Mothy. Alice, I have a power to not be seen, Mothy explains to Alice. What power? Invisibility. Alice looks at Mothy curious. No, Alice, this. Mothy breathes and changes his size to a normal-sized moth. He flies on Alice's shoulder. I can also change in size. Mothy crawls on Alice's shirt. You're a very cool moth. Alice uses one finger to pat Mothy. Alice rushes down the stairs and goes in the kitchen. I need a snack. Alice grabs a peach out the fruit bowl. Alice runs to the door. Alice's mother stands right at the door. August told me everything. Why you didn't tell you was getting bullied at school. Chapter 3. My blood is boiling. Alice's mother looks upset at Alice. I'm sorry, sis. August looks down. Mom, I really need to go to school. We can talk about this another time. I'm late. Alice says to her mom, trying to get past, but Alice's mom blocks her off. Why should I let you go to school? That's where the bullying is coming from. School, Alice's mom said with her arms folded. Give me the name of the kids and descriptions. Alice's mom looks at it. Alice mad. I don't know their name. In fact, I don't even make eye contact with them to know what clothes they wear. Alice spoke. Please, I need to go to school. Alice looks up at her mom. August looks at his mom. Alice's mom looks back at August and Alice. I'll let you go to school on one deal. You have to tell me everything when you get home. No more. I'm going to my room, okay, Alice? Alice's mom looks at Alice angry. Okay, fine, I will, Mom, I promise. Alice hugs her mom. Alice's mom looks at Alice, hugging her. I'll be okay, trust me. Alice looks up at her mom while hugging her. Alice's mom smiles and hugs her back. Alice's mom drops a small snack in her backpack without Alice knowing. Have a safe, protected, and smart day. Alice's mom rubs Alice's hair. Alice smiles. Okay, I will. Alice looks at August and walks past him without saying a word. August sighs and looks at the wall without making eye contact at Alice. Alice, Sam. Alice slams the door and walks out. August sighs and blows his breath. Alice sees her bus goes past. No, wait, stop. Alice tries to run to the bus. Jessica and her friends opens the window on the bus. Catch us if you can, slowpoke. Jessica laughs. As her friends throw balls of paper out the window and Alice dodges and runs, but the bus outbeats her and goes faster. Alice stops running and takes a breath. Why me? Alice said while breathing hard. Why? Alice coughs and stands up straight. Perhaps I can help you? Mothy looks at Alice. With what stopping time? Alice laughs a little. You see that, Allie? Mothy says to Alice. Yeah, I see it. What about it? Alice looks at Mothy. Go over there, Mothy says. Are you crazy? No, I don't want to get robbed. Alice says to Mothy with a strange look. Trust me, Alice. Mothy gets on Alice's head. Okay, whatever you say. Alice walks to the alley. Okay, now what? Alice looks curious. Mothy turns back to human-sized. He flies up and puts his feet on Alice's shoulder. Mothy takes Alice up in the air. Whoa, Mothy, Alice said, freaking out. I'm gonna die, Alice said loudly while screaming. You won't die. If anything, you'll die first trying to protect you. Mothy takes Alice above the clouds. You ever touch a cloud? Mothy puts Alice by the clouds. Alice touches it. They're fluffy and beautiful. Alice smiles and touches it more. Mothy sees a school. Is that what you called school? Mothy says to Alice, curious. Yes, that's school, Mothy. Mothy skydives while holding Alice in his arms. Brace yourself, Alice. Mothy puts his wings closer to Alice. Before they landed on the ground, Mothy holds Alice in his arms and lands on the ground feet first. We are at the school. Mothy turns back to a moth-sized and goes on Alice's shoulder. Alice noticed the school bus just arrives and parks right in front of the school. Looks like we beat the school bus, Mothy. Alice smiles down at her shoulder at Mothy. Alice walks inside the school. The announcement comes on. Hello, all to Wesley High School, the mascots of vultures. Can you guess what day it is today? That's right, clean your locker day. We get tired of cleaning your dirty locker, so you guys have to clean it. We almost close to the end of the school year, and we want to let it go off with a bang. If any of you need help cleaning your lockers, feel free to ask the janitors. That's why they work here. Have a good day, vultures as always stalk prey and attack. Alice sighs. I really don't feel like cleaning my locker today. Alice rubs her face. Hey, loser. Jessica stands in front of Alice. Hi. Alice looks at the ground. Look at me when I'm talking, nerd. Jessica makes Alice holds her head up at her. Didn't I say to change your hair color? Jessica pushes Alice into her locker. For the last time, Jessica, I can't change my hair color. Alice yells in Jessica's face. You little brat, who you think you yelling at like that? Jessica taps her fingers on Alice. Alice slaps her finger away from her. Everybody in the hallway makes a cycle and looks. OMG, no she didn't, said Tom. Fight, fight, fight. The security comes past. I'm sorry, did I hear the word fight? Who fighting? The security gets close to Jessica and Alice. Am not, sir, Alice says very low. We was just being on our way, security, sir, Sophia said to the securities, and walks away with Jessica and her friends. Alice opens her locker. Green paint falls on her head. Alice looks up very angry and wipes the green paint off. Jessica looks back and laughs. Other kids in the hallway laughs at her. Jessica shouts, "Beware of the witch, she will cast evil on all of you." Jessica laughs and her friends laugh. Jessica walks away. Alice turns to Jessica's direction. She taps Jessica's shoulder. Jessica turns around. Alice slaps her across the face. Jessica falls to the ground and grabs her face. She begins to cry a little. "Look what you did to my friend, you freak." Sophia gets in Alice's face. Alice slaps her to across the face. Carter pushes Alice back away. Alice kicks Carter under his leg. Carter shouts and grabs himself and gets on his knees. Alice looks up at Tom. Tom looks at Alice. "What, you want some of this too?" Alice shouts at Tom. "No thank you." Tom runs away. The security grabs Alice. "That's it, you done it this time." The security grabs Alice by her arm and the kids in the hallway records the whole thing. Alice gets put in the principal office. "One of your students decided to practice theater taekwondo on a group of students." The security makes Alice sit in a chair. "Let me guess, Jessica again." The principal slowly turns around from her spinning chair and looks Alice in the eye in shock. "I never seen you come in here before. I thought you was a good girl," the principal said in shock. "What made you behave this way, young lady?" The principal puts her phone down and looks at Alice. "I was being bullied, and Miss Hazel, look at what they did to my hair." Alice shouts and cries at Miss Hazel. "I've been through so much you can't even imagine." Alice looks at Miss Hazel. "I understand your pain, Alice, but you can't fight a group of students on school grounds." Miss Hazel takes her glasses off and puts her hand on Alice's hand on the desk. "I couldn't help myself at that point. Something told me to do it." Alice wipes her eyes. "How about this? I give the girls suspended and pay for the damage they did to your hair, and all you have to do is stay here for detention." Miss Hazel says, holding Alice's hand. "That's okay." Alice uses some tissue from Miss Hazel's desk and wipes her hair. "Sweetheart, I don't think that's gonna come out." Hazel gives Alice a mirror. "That's not paint, that's hair dye." Miss Hazel looks at Alice sad. Alice blows her breath and looks down on the floor. "My mom gonna kill me for sure," Alice whispers to herself. "How about you excuse yourself from detention today and just go home?" Miss Hazel looks up at Alice and smiles. "Thank you." Alice gets up out her seat. "Promise me you won't fight, and we pretend that this detention never happened." Miss Hazel looks at Alice serious. "I promise." Miss Hazel. Alice leaves out the principal room. "Look at what that idiot did to my face. I have a red slap mark on my face. People gonna think I did this to myself," Jessica says, frustrated. "Jessica, I know how you feel. She slapped me too." Sophia. Chapter 4. Silks and Moths. Takes the ice pack off her face and places it on Jessica's face. "I got worse, dudes." Carter cripple walks near Sophia. "I can't even walk," Carter said, grabbing his thigh. "If I see that evil witch, I swear to God it's gonna be game on, and her head is gonna be the ball," Jessica says, very angry. Jessica and her friends leave out the bathroom and sees Alice with her music plug up, walking in the hallway. "That's her right there," said Tom. Jessica follows Alice. Tom grabs her. Alice yells out, "Bring her in the janitor room." "I know, just the right thing to do." Jessica smiles at Alice, stepping on her earphones. Jessica opens the janitor door, and Tom pushes Alice inside. Carter locks the door. Tom holds Alice down. "What should we do?" Jessica looks at Carter. "Give me your belt," Jessica demanded Carter. "Don't you think that's a little too far, Jessica?" Carter hesitates while talking. "She gonna learn this lesson for the rest of her life. Now give me the belt," Jessica says loudly to Carter. Carter hesitates and slowly gives Jessica her belt. "You're gonna learn today, freak." Jessica smiles at Alice. Mothy turns into a human-sized. Jessica drops the belt. "Oh my God," said Carter. Tom releases Alice. Carter goes in the corner. Sophia and Jessica screams, hugs each other and scream. Mothy grabs all them and grabs them all together in silk and places them on the wall. "What the heck is that thing?" Mothy covers Jessica's mouth with silk. "You will no longer bully me anymore." Alice looks up at Jessica smiling. Jessica tries to talk, but can't sound a word out. The rest of her friends mumble too, because their mouth is also silk. Alice laughs at them. Mothy looks back at Alice and smiles. Mothy turns back into moth-sized and goes on Alice's shoulder. Alice walks out the janitor room. Alice walks past the janitor. The janitor looks at Alice confused. Was you looking for me, kid? The janitor takes his headphones off and looks at Alice. No, I wasn't, Alice said, turning around at the janitor. I just saw you left out the janitor room, you sure? The janitor stops sweeping and points at the janitor room. I think he might have caught you in theater, Mothy whispers to Alice. The principal walks towards Alice. Hey Alice, before you go, make sure you clean your locker. Principal Ms. Hazel puts her hand on Alice's shoulder and walks away. Yes, will do, Alice said, smiling at Ms. Hazel. Are you gonna answer my question, kid? The janitor looks at Alice confused. Oh, sorry, yes, I was looking for you. I needed help cleaning my locker. I thought you was in theater. I apologize. Alice looks up at the janitor. Here, take my broom. This will help get the spider webs out your locker. The janitor hands Alice the broom. Alice holds the broom. Thanks, Alice smiles and walks away with the broom to her locker. She notices the other kids staring at her and rewatching the video of paint falling on her head. Alice blows her breath and pays no attention to them and hums her favorite song. Don't I silk them too? Mothy whispers to Alice. No, that'll be too obvious, Mothy, Alice whispers to Mothy. I am always here for you, Alice. Mothy flies into Alice's pocket. Mothy, can I ask you something? As Alice uses the broom to clean her locker. Anything, Alice, speak away, said Mothy. Ain't the janitor gonna see Jessica and her friend silk it on the wall? Said Alice, looking worried. Don't worry, I got that cover, Mothy smiles. Mothy the janitor can literally see them on the wall. Alice stops sweeping and looks in her pocket. Mothy eats a strawberry that was in Alice's pocket. This food, please tell me, what do you call it? Mothy swallow. OMG, Mothy. Alice grabs her mouth and looks down the hallway. I know I'm a cool moth, you can say, Mothy burps. No, Mothy, I think the situation may have gotten worse. Alice breathes in and out. You said you wanted them to stop. Mothy looks up at Alice. I didn't mean like that, Mothy. Alice closes her locker. Alice hears buzzing sound. You hear that? Alice said to Mothy. No, I don't hear anything. Mothy looks in the same direction as Alice. The buzzing gets louder. Alice looks closer in the hallway. A bunch of moths come down the hallway. The kids began to run and scream. Alice falls down from the swarm of moths flying past her. Alice smiles but also worry. Yep, we are in so much trouble, Mothy. So much trouble. Alice laughs a little while sitting on the ground, watching the moths go past her. She holds Mothy on her finger and gives him a kiss. The end is just the beginning.